Hey everyone, it's me, Aridos Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Thanks for being here. As always, hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. Don't forget, donate the links below. Thank you very much. And feel free to check my novels on Amazon. There's just a few of them. All right. So it has been a little while since I did a live stream. I was looking for a topic to educate you all, because that's why I do these live streams to educate you. So hold on. Let me first check if the sound is proper. I'm gonna check it on my mobile phone over here. So hold on. I'm gonna go to the YouTube app. I always check whether you could hear me clearly, because that's quite important. Hold on. Yes, the live stream is live, as you can see over here. Let me check. All right. Yes, the live stream is live. You should be able to hear me perfectly fine. Okay, that's good. So, before I continue, I want to hold on one moment. I want to show you some sources that I've used for this live stream over here. Just one moment. Internet's a little bit slow right now, but you all can hear me clearly, right? Okay, you can all hear me clearly. That's good. Ah, here it is. Present, share screen. Hold on. All right. You should be able to see it clearly. What you see over there are just some of the sources I've used for this live stream. I'm going to show them little by little. Well, actually, I went through all of them and I selected a few of them to actually highlight in this live stream, but I went through these sources. If you wish to do further research, you can check these sources for yourself. And there are also other sources I'll be showing during the presentation. So just so you know. All right. You can go back. Um, you go back later and make a screenshot of them. And I'm also going to put them in the comment section and highlight it later on, so don't worry about it. All right. Now, when many of you think of, you know what, let me show it to you all. What country is this? Let me know in the live chat. What is this country? By the way, if you are driving or you're participating in any kind of way in traffic, please don't uh, uh, don't write in the live chat. Pay attention to the roads because I don't want any traffic accidents on my watch. Thank you very much. What country is this? Let me know in the live chat. Do you recognize this country? I'm gonna wait for 30 seconds to see what your answers are. What country is this? Do you recognize it? Right, let me go down a little bit. I know the map is old, but the country should be recognizable. This is the United States of America. Huh? Rashid, it's missing more than half of the country. When most people think of the United States of America, that's what they think about. This giant country over here, including Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico. But what people forget is that when the United States became independent in 1783 with the Treaty of Paris, this was the United States. Here you have the state of New York, state of Pennsylvania, um, you had the state of Georgia down there. Now, West Florida, East Florida was not part of the United States. It was part of the Spanish Empire still, but hey, they claimed it as their heritage. Canada was also called British North America, was a British Empire still. And as you can see, northwest of the Ohio River was just a territory, so it was unorganized, even though there were settlements over there. But this was the United States. And eventually, you had Kentucky getting its independence from the Commonwealth of Virginia. So the Commonwealth of Virginia began split in two between the Commonwealth of Kentucky and Commonwealth of Virginia. And later, the Commonwealth of Virginia was separated in two, West Virginia and just Virginia. So some developments happened over, and later you had the Louisiana Purchase, but this was the United States. Back then, 1783, and this map is from, I believe, 1791, if I'm correct. Let me see which year this map is. I believe, but anyway, as you can see, Kentucky was already by itself. It also had army lands over here, so there was a little bit of land that was only meant for the army. There were Indian lands over here. What I'm saying is, back then, when the United States began, it was not a superpower at all. The United States was not a superpower back then. The United States was kind of still the, I won't say servant, that there's a bit, it was a bit too far, but they were kind of walking behind the British Empire. Despite getting its independence from the British Empire, the United States was still in the shadows of the British Empire. Financially, economically, the United States was still, I would say, fully dependent on the British economy. Because it was a new country, it still had to build its own international relations. The people selected for their own identity as Americans, and they had a difficult time doing that because in each former British province, people wanted to stay on their own because each state was considered an independent sovereign state. So there was a union of countries that functioned as one country. And they didn't want to form a central government, so you had the federalists over there want to keep everything kind of, um, separate. They only unify on when it comes to the military and foreign affairs. But then you had the people, I'm not sure if you could call them unionists. They were more wanted to integrate everything as one big whole. So that was the United States back then. So the United States as superpower that we grew up with did not exist when it began. Okay? Oh, and by the way, American English as a dialect did not even exist yet. The people here spoke English like they did in Britain. All right? Now, why am I showing you this? It is because too often we tend to project the current affairs onto the past. Now, if you talk about China and you imagine that in the past Chinese people lived there, that's accurate. Chinese people lived there in the past. Name the ancestors of the current Chinese people. If you imagine you spoke Chinese back then, also in China, that's correct, even though it was a different type of Chinese than today. When you look at the United States, it's easy for you to think that, oh, the United States were independent from Britain. So when it became independent, it was already this big. No, it wasn't. The majority of what they call the United States was part of the Spanish Empire, including Alaska. Yes, Alaska was governed by Spain for a while. But a lot of people are not even aware of that. Port Valdez over here, the city, it was called Puerto Valdez, which was a Spanish fort. All right? So, United States today is not the same United States as United States began. Let it be clear to you. All right. Now, let's continue now. Leave the United States behind. Let's talk about Saint-Domingue. Saint-Domingue was a French colony. This was the flag of Saint-Domingue over here. There was a royal coat of arms because France was a kingdom back then. And it started in 1697. And it's just how it went. In Europe, you had all these conflicts going on. And and between the Kingdom of France, the Dutch Republic, the Kingdom of England, because England was also united with Scotland yet, so there was not Great Britain yet. You had the Spanish Empire also, the Holy Roman Empire that doesn't exist anymore, or Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. So you had all these conflicts going on, and this was the map how Europe was back then. Here you can see the Dutch Republic. This over here was the Holy Roman Empire, which is a collection of countries operating as a so-called union that wasn't actually a union. Yet Poland, together with Lithuania, was a giant nation over here. You had the Ottoman Empire or the Turkish Empire over here. The Habsburg dynasty governed a portion of the Holy Roman Empire and also Hungary out there. The Spanish Empire consists out of modern-day Spain in Europe and the south of Italy. Portugal, the Portuguese had their own thing over there. There was the Kingdom of France over here. It was England, which also dominated Ireland. Scotland was separate. Denmark and Norway were two countries. They functioned as one. The Sweden also had an empire, the Swedish Empire over here, as you can see. And you had Russia over there, which wasn't really that relevant yet. So there were a lot of conflicts, as you can understand. So in the year, okay, let me go back. Hold on, let me go back. In the year, let me go back one more time. In what year was it? 1697. There were a series of agreements made between those countries in the city Rijswijk. Rijswijk is close to The Hague. So these agreements were made in the Netherlands. And one of the agreements was that the Spanish Empire would concede the left of Santo Domingo to France. So Saint-Domingue is a French translation of Santo Domingo, which actually means Holy Sunday. So, yes, the Spanish had to concede the west of the island. And as you know, you had the slave trade going on back then from Western Africa and the Congo area. So you had a lot of people from West Africa and the Congo being kidnapped and deported all the way to Saint-Domingue. And there were also there were African people living in the Western Hemisphere before Columbus sailed, before the transatlantic slave trade. But people don't often talk about that. Those are considered maroons, while the people that were deported over there to the slaves were called Creoles. And some of the Creoles, and also some of the maroons were free people also. They were not slaves. So, and don't forget, you had African kings also cooning around and selling their own people as slaves too. Unfortunately, it happens. Okay? And they used cargo ships as slave ships. So people say, oh, there were no slave ships. Well, listen, those were cargo ships used as slave ships. And a lot of the Africans died while on their way from West Africa to the Caribbean because the Atlantic Ocean can be quite treacherous to sail upon, even with modern day ships. All right? So eventually, Saint-Domingue became a French colony. And the French colonization was different from the Spanish colonization. And I'm about to explain the difference very soon. Because look at this. France had two colonial empires. You had the first French colonial empire, which was mainly Canada and a big portion of today the Midwest of the United States, and also Saint-Domingue eventually. And they had some colonies over there also in the Caribbean and India. But this one, it wasn't that profitable. The main profitable colony was Saint-Domingue, or what later became Haiti. And they lost the viceroyalty of New France in 1763. It was divided between Britain and Spain. But Saint-Domingue remained part of the French colonial empire. And you need to understand, when France lost Saint-Domingue and Saint-Domingue became independence Haiti, they barely had an empire anymore. Yeah, they had French Guyana, which was a failure. They had little portions in India, which they couldn't manage well. And it's only in 1830 that France began to conquer Algeria, and later they conquered most of West Africa, and much later went all the way to Southeast Asia and established French Indochina. So all of this was not part of the French Empire yet. It was mainly Viceroyalty of New France, Saint-Domingue, French Guiana, and parts in India. So just so you understand that Saint-Domingue, as you can, this is a map of Saint-Domingue over here. It's a French map. Carte de la part de Saint-Domingue habitée par le François. Okay, my French pronunciation not that well. But anyway, look at this. The east was still governed by Spain as Santo Domingo, which functioned like an autonomous kingdom. But the French, this is how France did, because France was one country. Okay? France was one country that extended itself. Spain, as you might see over here, was a union of kingdoms, small kingdoms here and there. These were tiny countries forming one union called Spain. And they extended this union into North and South America. So Spain established autonomous countries in the Americas and also the Philippines. So that's why the way the Spanish Empire functions is quite different than the way the French Empire functions. So Saint-Domingue was an extension of France, of French society, as you can see over here. They already had settlements over there with French names. This is another map of Saint-Domingue over here, as you can see. Now, you can find other maps also. This one after Saint-Domingue became independent as on the name Haiti. By the way, Haiti or Haiti was the name of the island before it was even colonized. So that's why Haiti became also the name afterwards. But Curacao, you see over here, was governed by the Spanish and by the Dutch. It's interesting they put in this map of 1827 they put Haiti and Curacao together. Even though Curacao was not independent, there were similarities in attitudes in both places back then. I won't get into it right now. Oh, and just a quick note for you all: I'm from Haitian descent also. I have Haitian ancestry. Okay, so I have ancestors who fought in the Haitian Revolution. Yes. And also, the United States, especially the state of Louisiana, also has a link with Haiti because you had a lot of Haitians, even when time when a lot of them were still enslaved, being deported, or some even moved to North America. And I already explained that they played a big role in Louisiana territory when it was on Spanish rule also. So the history of Haiti goes, it's not just related to the island, okay? It goes quite further. And thing is, France, as you may understand, France was quite a relevant country back then in Europe, because this was actually one country instead of a union of countries like the Spanish Empire was. And France had some financial influence also, and they had a high population. And French was also the diplomatic language back then. If back then English was not that well developed, and English was not the spoken language of the world like it is today. Back then, if you went abroad, likely you spoke French. Even the Spanish people learned French as second language if they're about to trade abroad or go abroad. All right, so there was the cultural relevance of France back then, and France also developed, I won't say a fashion industry, but a fashion movement. This is King Louis the 14th. As you can see, he's quite flamboyant, wearing heels also. Yes, men wore heels back then. Oh, by the way, heels were worn by men at the time, not by women that much. So France had a strong sense of fashion also. And don't forget, the Palace of Versailles was also constructed around the time. Also, I visited this. I visited this a little while ago when I was in Paris. I visited this palace also. It's quite enormous. So I just want to point out to you that France was also exporting fashion back then already. Okay, it wasn't only France, but they were they were. There's one thing they did because the French colonial empire back then, especially New France, especially the southern part of New France, was also called Louisiana back then, was not that profitable. It had a bad reputation. Canada under French rule was more stable, but Louisiana was not. Absolutely not. Okay, so the main possession of France overseas that was successful was Saint-Domingue. And let's continue further. France was governed by the Bourbon dynasty, which in 700 also began to govern the Spanish Empire. And then you had the Bourbon reforms being put in place because you had the French Bourbon dynasty also governing the Spanish Empire. So you had all these reforms coming into the Spanish Empire, which also made other live streams about it. Just to keep it short, the Spanish Empire was modernized and made more effective to govern under Bourbon rule. Before it was governed by the Austrian Habsburg dynasty, but that wasn't that affected a lot of inflation back then. So just to give you a background of how was going on back in the time. So let's read this for a moment. Okay. Once the richest colony in the world, Saint-Domingue was a leader in the production of sugar, coffee, indigo, cacao, and cotton. Haiti's early history is characterized by remarkable economic output. On the eve of the Haitian Revolution, Saint-Domingue had become the most lucrative colony on earth. It was the world's top producer of sugar and coffee among the global leaders in indigo, cacao, and cotton. Cacao is where you get chocolate from, all right, which was rising rapid in importance. Indeed, Saint-Domingue, occupying only a small territory, outproduced the entire Spanish Empire in the Americas. Whoa. 1 in 8 people in France derive their living from the enormous trade joining France with a small and distant place, 4,000 nautical miles away. 1 in 8 people in France, so a big portion of the French population relied on Saint-Domingue for the living. The reasons for this extraordinary performance can be explained from a number of factors: qualities of land and climate, government support, and more than anything, the presence of a huge number of enslaved Africans who propelled this extensive economic system with their labor. Roughly 8,000 plantations or habitations, well, there were a lot of plantations, prospered during the 18th century, entirely dependent on slavery. To be as rich as a Creole was a famous boast of the time, and Saint-Domingue was lionized as the Pearl of the Antilles. Antilles is how they called the Caribbean also back then, also called till this day. At its peak, the economy of Saint-Domingue created a tax base of 1 billion livres and annually sent goods worth 150 to 170 million livres to France. The books include here offer insight into how this elaborate economy functions. So look at that. Okay, let's go to, I want to show you guys something very quickly. Okay, New Spain, you see over here, which was a portion of the Spanish Empire. As you can see over here, it went all the way to Alaska, as I said. Okay, but the Spanish Empire also went also in South America. So I'm about to show some stuff to you over here. And again, as you can see over here, the United States was quite small back then at independence. You had kingdoms over here, governed by Spain, by the Spanish king, I mean. Well, let's go down. What I'm saying is little Saint-Domingue outperformed the whole Spanish Empire. And I want you to realize how big the Spanish Empire was. Okay? The Spanish Empire was enormous. Yet, little Saint-Domingue over there outperformed all of it in when it comes to the economy. So there was a better so just think about this. The wealthiest colony on the earth was Saint-Domingue. Oh yes, this is the map I was looking for. Okay, I need to go back now. Look at this. Santo Domingo was the Spanish part, but Santo Domingue was left. But this small place over here outperformed all these autonomous kingdoms here. Also the Philippines, which was also a Spanish kingdom back then. Just to show you how wealthy Santo Domingue was. All right? So when people talk about Haiti today, and you keep associating Haiti with poverty and with crime and with corruption, that is a present day situation. It also has to deal with the history of Haiti. It's not that Haiti was always like this. All right? And remember, during Saint Domingue, there were slaves that purchased their own freedom, and some escaped plantations and became free men, and they also started their own economies, or their own businesses. There were even some of those enslaved people that after they got their freedom from slavery started their own plantations, and some also slavery on other Africans. So yeah, that crap going on also. But just so you know that it wasn't that all the dark-skinned people in Saint Domingue were all automatically slaves. Even though the majority of them were, there were some free ones amongst them. And those who were free got education. They also uh, specialized in the arts, in politics, or even in the military. So it was that all the Haitian people back then were just slaves. That's not all what it was. Besides that, you also had a lot of settlers from Europe, especially from France, from Poland, and you also had German settlers also who settled on the island, having plantations. Now, right now, I want to shift the screen sharing. One moment. Stop screen sharing. Let me present one more time. Hold on. All right. We're going to do this over here. By the way, can you all see the screen I'm sharing? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Just want to make sure you guys can see it clearly. Let me check it too, my mobile phone. All right, okay. Should be able to see it clearly. Okay. This is an article from the 8th of April of this year. France urged to repay billions of dollars to Haiti for independence ransom. Okay, France should repay billions of dollars to Haiti to cover a debt formerly enslaved people were forced to pay in return for recognizing the island's independence, according to a coalition of civil society groups that is launching a new push for reparations. The Caribbean island state became the first in the region to win its independence in 1804, after revolt by enslaved people. But in a move that many Haitians blame for 2 centuries of their own, France later imposed harsh reparations for lost income, and that debt was only fully repaid in 1947. What? Okay. First of all, let's go to the article right over here. You should be able to see the article. Okay, let's read. The Haitian independence debt involves a 1835 agreement between Haiti and France that induced France demanding an indemnity of 150 million francs to be paid by Haiti in claims over property, including Haitian slaves that were lost through the Haitian Revolution, in return for diplomatic recognition, with a debt removing the equivalent of 21 billion in 2020 terms from the Haitian economy. So let me explain what happened. After Saint-Domingue, Domingue, got its independence from France, remember, 20 billion in 2020 terms from the Haitian economy. So let me explain what happened. After Saint-Domingue got its independence from France, remember, 20 billion in 2020 terms from the Haitian economy. So let me explain what happened. After Saint-Domingue got its independence from France, 8,000 plantations on Haiti, run by the French government. Haiti back then, Saint-Domingue was the richest colony on the earth. It outperformed the whole Spanish Empire when it comes to finances. And as a matter of fact, in 1795, Haiti also received the eastern part of Santo Domingo because Spain conceded that to France. So the whole island now became Saint Domingue or Haiti, and they relied on slave labor. When Haiti became independent, France lost a big portion of their income. And you also had other stuff happening. Let's go to the Haitian Revolution, or in French, La Guerre de l'Indépendance. This was an actual revolt of 12 years, 4 months, 1 week, and 4 days. Okay? This was not just a small slave rebellion, small slave right on some plantations. It was a widespread rebellion. Okay? And there were many countries getting involved. Britain got involved. Spain got involved. I mean, and this rebellion here, it also affected what happened in France, in which later the French king was dethroned, later beheaded, what we call the French Revolution. A lot of people talk about the French Revolution, or they call the revolution was really France collapsing, but they don't tell you how France collapsed. They call the French Revolution was revolution, but it wasn't like everyone out there was there to let's change France and let's destroy the royal order. No, the royal order of France collapsed. And remember, in 1763, France lost most of its colonial empire. Only was left with Saint-Domingue or Haiti, French Guiana, and French Guiana was a disaster, and some colonies in India. So Saint-Domingue was the main overseas territory of France that they relied on for their economy. They needed Saint-Domingue to remain internationally relevant also. So when the slave rebellions began and they were widespread, or even free Haitians who were living in France that joined it, my God, it led to, I would say, a collapse of the French economy. And the French over there in France were also mistreated by their own government. So when the economy began to fail also, it triggered riots, which led to what we call the French Revolution. So the Haitian Revolution triggered the French Revolution. But a lot of people don't want to say it like that because it will give too much credit to so-called black people or African people or people, you get me? But I do it. Okay? So once, because you had three Creoles that realized, hold on a minute, our homeland, Saint-Domingue, is the richest, I would say, country on the earth, but it's governed as a colony by another country. Hold on a minute, why are most of our people slaves? We should have a say in what goes on. So once the awareness increased of how wealthy and rich they were, they said, hey, we want things differently. Okay, so the revolts began. Now, eventually, there was this, I would say, this Creole aristocrat who started to campaign for it, but then it was taken over by Toussaint Louverture, a former slave who eventually became a general. This him, Toussaint Louverture. Okay, he was also called Toussaint Breda. This was another name he had. Oh, where is he? Let's go over here. Toussaint Louverture. He also served in the Spanish military for a little while, so he gained military experience. He also was part of the French military, and eventually, when all turmoil was there, he did was not his plan, but eventually ended up taking an important role. And don't forget, Toussaint Louverture, full name Francois Dominique Toussaint Louverture, he was a believer. And he is known as one of the fathers of Haiti. Okay? He was the one who actually finalized Haiti's separation from France. But the thing is, Napoleon did not want to accept this because, A, France was already in a big mess with all the riots happening in France. The only thing they had going on for them is Saint-Domingue. So with Saint-Domingue become independent, a big problem. And this thing, when France became a republic and they had all these riots going on, they abolished slavery for everyone in the French realms. So slavery was abolished. So all the plantations had to be reformed. But Napoleon wanted to bring back slavery. So the population thought, hell no. And by the way, there were even Europeans, there were even wealthy Europeans who said, no, Napoleon, you're not going to put back slavery over there. So the Haitian Revolution were all supported by Polish and German people. There was even this Polish guy associated with the United States who even donated his inheritance, the inheritance he would leave behind, to the Haitians. But other Europeans blocked it from arriving. Yes, there were Europeans who were against slavery who donated big portions of their own fortune to the Haitians revolting. And the Haitian Revolution also inspired a revolt in the Netherlands in 1795, which called the Batavian Revolt. Also, even though there were already riots in the Netherlands against the reign of the Orange family, which was the kind of an aristocratic family governing the republic back then. But it was the Haitian Revolution that actually pushed also the French riots to begin, which also led to eventually um, the Dutch Republic falling and turning to the Batavian Republic. So I'm not saying that the Haitian Revolution was directly the cause for the Dutch being unsatisfied with their government and revolting, because there was already discontent going on. However, the Haitian Revolution triggered what happened in 1795, which was that the Dutch Republic fell. Because in France, there were a lot of people that were sympathetic towards the Haitians, and they also began to help the Dutch to overthrow the tyrannical government of Prince William IV, Prince of Orange, over here. So this guy had to flee the Netherlands, going all the way to England, because he was kicked out of the country. Oh, and by the way, a lot of Satanists back then who were kicked out of their farms, they were disowned by the public and they had to leave. A lot of them ended up in the United States, in the state of New York. So now you know where the origins of the Democratic Party comes from. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I know I mentioned a lot of dates, but I want you to understand this. The Haitian Revolution wasn't just an isolated event. And before, let me go back, before 1791, historians mention 1791 because then there was an actual proclamation and, how to say, 791 is when it actually became successful. But before 791, there were already revolts going on, but those were not that successful. So the actual Haitian Revolution was more, it actually began before the 21st of August 1791, but it was 21st of August 1791 that actually became a successful one. All right? And they couldn't stop it. Now, what I want to point out is that Napoleon wanted to bring back slavery. That did not work. Toussaint Louverture wanted to do things more, diplomatic in a peaceful way, but Napoleon sent around, I believe it was around 70,000 soldiers across the Atlantic to take back the whole island. They arrested Toussaint Louverture, who actually was the governor general. He was actually leading the government over there. So when they arrested him, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who was an associate of Toussaint Louverture, he was um, he was not a believer, was into voodoo, into the dark arts, all of that. This guy decided, okay, you won't do it the Christian way, we're going the pagan way. And this guy who took over, he led a bloody revolt, which led to many dead soldiers, a lot of British ones, and he eventually declared the island independent as the Empire of Haiti. He became the first emperor of Haiti. That's him over here. But there was one thing Dessalines did that kind of went quite far. Because Dessalines was kind of a bitter man. He was used to be a slave too, and he still was not over all that happened to him. So he had this, I would say, he had this bitterness towards Europeans or, or quote unquote white people. So after he became emperor, he decided to massacre the European settlers that lived there. Whole families were massacred. The only ones he kept that were allowed to live were the Poles and German settlers that supported the revolt against France. So this led to, and remember, Haiti also dominated the East back then. So eventually, the Dominican population, the the population in the East, which were also from African ancestry, also partially mixed, the Dominicans were also governed by Haiti back then. They also faced a lot of massacres because Dessalines couldn't stand that a lot of the Dominicans in the East did not fully join the Haitians in the West against France. So he was quite bitter about that also. So he had a lot. So Santo Domingo was also attacked. And let me say like this: they destroyed many of the infrastructure in cities in the east of the island. So this was known as the horrors of Santo Domingo. Okay, so this what happened terrified the people in the United States back then. So this became the inspiration for the later Jim Crow laws to suppress um, people from African ancestry in the United States because they were afraid that another guy like Dessalines would rise up. The 1804 Haitian massacre. Well, the massacres continued all the way till 1806. And it was in 1808 that Spain, under the help of, I believe, the British, took back the eastern part of the island. But just so you know, this is what happened. So when you go back up here, the Asian Revolution was not something easy. Over 200,000 Haitians died. 75,000 French died. Those were mainly military folks, and also European settlers, 25,000 at least. And there were also 45,000 British that died, some military, some civilian. So it was a costly fight, but they got their independence. They got their freedom. Now, as you understand, France, because they lost Haiti, France turned to the Spanish Empire to occupy the Spanish Empire. That failed. So, long story short, Napoleon was kicked out, and Napoleon was from an Italian family, by the way. He was an Italian that naturalized as French. So Napoleon was not originally French; he was Italian, but a lot of people don't talk about it either. So eventually, in 1825, France was in a financial, I would say, turmoil because they were bankrupt. So they now wanted to take back Haiti, but they lacked the means to. So they did a naval block on the island to block export. Instead, we will recognize you, Haiti, if just pay reparations for the slaves we lost and the European settlers you killed. Haiti, because it didn't really have a strong military back then, because Haiti, after its independence, also had a little civil war within itself, unfortunately. Because of that, they were forced to agree with um, paying off that debt. And because of that, the Haitian economy could not properly develop and prosper. Because remember, Haiti now had to spend most of their income paying off France. So even after Haiti's independence, France was leeching off of them. So during the 19th century, eventually, while leeching off of Haiti, France decided that they were invading. They were invading um, Algeria in 1830. Now, eventually, in 1848, France had another revolt, which was a revolt over all of Europe, though the industrial era. And slowly out of that era, you had this other guy from Napoleon family, um, Charles Louis Napoleon Bonaparte. He can be considered actually French because he actually grew up as a Frenchman. He established another French empire and he became Emperor of the French again, 1852. And during his rule, you had this guy over here. No, 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 no. This is the wrong page. My bad. Yeah, this guy over here, Louis Vuitton, he was a trunk maker to the wife of Napoleon III. Okay? And that's how he eventually obtained his economic and financial relevance, and his company or his business grew and became the present day we call Louis Vuitton. So let me get this straight. The luxury fashion house Louis Vuitton, it did not begin as a luxurious brand. It did not begin as, I would say, a brand that was so well beloved. It started 1854 in Paris by Louis Vuitton, this guy. And don't forget, 1852, Napoleon III became the Emperor of the French. And France back then was leeching off of Haiti while they were expanding into Western Africa. So that is the link between Haiti and also Napoleon III and Louis Vuitton, the founder, and the current brand Louis Vuitton. Okay? So a lot of people, when they talk about Louis Vuitton, uh, they go after how Louis Vuitton is today. And a lot of people worldwide want to buy Louis Vuitton bags, Louis Vuitton gloves, all of that. Because the story is it's a quality fashion brand. It's a quality luxury brand also. But the thing is, it came forth out of colonial exploitation. That's where it came from. Napoleon III was a colonizer who was in full agreement in taking over West Africa while leeching off of Haiti. So money that was extorted from Haiti was used in the French economy to colonize West Africa and also later parts of Southeast Asia. And you had French entrepreneurs like this guy over here who also got the benefits of it. And this guy was directly involved with the Imperial House of France back then. You know what I mean? It began as a little trunk making shop in Paris, but it was because of his association with the Imperial House of France, which was deeply rooted in extorting Haiti. Because Napoleon III did not stop the extortion from Haiti, he kept enforcing it. And at some point, even the United States got involved, helping out Haiti, helping out France. I mean, extorting Haiti. Sorry, helping France extorting Haiti. So I'm just saying, President Louis Vuitton, yes, it's a luxurious brand from France, absolutely, but the origin was not that luxurious. If I look at Haiti today, let me just type it in for you right over here. Today is the Republic of Haiti. Haiti today has a lot of problems, absolutely, criminality, poverty, all of that, but we cannot say that they have all these problems or it's all their fault. Yes, the Haitians themselves have their own part in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not going to sugarcoat that. Absolutely not. Even me being of Haitian ancestry, Haitian descent, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Thing is, they are being sabotaged by Western powers for a long time. Okay? That's why I can't stand people talking crap and shit about Haiti. Oh, there are even racist people saying things like, well, Haiti's independent from the white man's rule, but look how bad they are. They were better off on their when they were enslaved, when they were a colony. No, 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 no. Haiti, if it was left alone, it could have been the number one island nation by now in the Caribbean. Because remember, after when Haiti's independence, at some point, the Dominican Republic, which was the former Captain General Santo Domingo, was unified with Haiti, under pressure of Haiti, of course. But the Dominicans and Haitians had one country called Haiti or Santo Domingo. Later, the Dominicans rebelled and separated from Haiti, and at some point even became part again of the Spanish Empire. But then they were kicked out again by Spain because times changed. And today you have this animosity, kind of cultural animosity between the Haitians and the Dominicans. Well, both parts had their issues in the past, and don't forget, without Toussaint Louverture from the Haitian Revolution, the Dominicans would not have become independent either. So I know it's controversial, but Dominicans today also have to give credit to Toussaint Louverture, who also governed the eastern part and who secured the liberation of the whole island. So, and remember, the Dominican Republic wanted to join Colombia, but the Colombians said no. So it was the Haitians who kept them separate from colonialism by including them into Haiti. So why am I doing this live stream? I want you to understand that the way things are today are the result of historical processes. Oh, in case, okay, let me continue. Let's say this is something about Muslims, but it says the Haitian Revolution, which took place between 1791, again, it started before that, but those were unsuccessful revolts. 1791 and 1804 stands out as the most successful slave revolt in history, involving enslaved Africans and liberated black individuals. And there is a Muslim connection too, because you had a lot of Maroons there were also Muslim. But this is kind of not, um, how to say, mentioned a lot, but just want to point it out. There's an Islamic connection with that also. And don't forget, back then, you also had Africans from West Africa who were not enslaved, and some were enslaved, unfortunately, that became noble and prestigious people in the world, which was governed by Western Europe back then. Swedish Moors. Now, the Moors, okay, um, Moors became a term used for Muslims in general, but if you go back in time and talk about Moors, they were dark-skinned people from northern Africa. And later, the Arabs mixed with some of them together with uh, enslaved women from Eastern Europe. Yes, it happened too, from Ukraine. What was the Ukraine back then? And that's how you got a lot of light-skinned North Africans today. You know what I mean? So Northern Africa was not light-skinned Arab back then like it is today. Okay? So the term Moor became a reference to a lot of people, but originally it means people from the Mauritanian tribes. Yet the Phoenicians becoming Carthaginians or the Punic peoples, the Punic peoples becoming Mauritanians. Mauritanians became Mauru, Moru, From then you have Moor or More, and from More you have Morocco. You know what I mean? So the Sultanate of Morocco was not the light-skinned Arab kingdom it is today. Just to point it out. There were light-skinned people back then also in Morocco, but the Morocco came from the Moors. All right? For example, look at the flag of Corsica. This is the flag of Corsica. It was readopted in 1980. It was 1755 it was adopted. It contains a Moor's head, dark skinned. And as you see, there were you had Moors in Europe also, as you can see over there. The term Moor became inclusive for all Muslims eventually late in time, but originally was for the Mauritanian peoples. You can see over here. These are coat of arms in Europe. Look at this. This is a Moor right over there. So for anyone to tell me that African or black so-called black people, I say so-called because black people is actually adjective. It's not an actual people. It's a description. People that say that Africans or blacks didn't have any history. They were only slaves or savages in Africa. I'm sorry, you're out of your damn mind. Look at this. Moors over here in Europe. Okay, flag of Corsica. All right, and where is Corsica? Okay, I'm about to look it up for you. This Corsica. Here the flag and the coat of arms. You see that? Moor's head over here. And don't forget the Moors governed Spain for over 700 years. Okay, Al-Andalus. Let me show it towards you. Al-Andalus. The Moors governed Spain. Starting in 1711, go all the way to 1492. It was in 1492 that I'll just say it was in 1492 that the Catholic kings kicked out the Moors. And later they were called Morisco. So Morisco, that's how they were called afterwards. So from Moors went to Moriscos, or Portuguese, Moriscos. You know what I mean? So the Moors did not disappear. They were just renamed differently. And they still kept around. A lot of them converted to Catholicism, others remained Muslim. But just so you understand, yes, there was a time Spain was governed from Morocco, because the origin of Morocco is Moor, so we're governed from dark-skinned Morocco. So dark-skinned Moroccans governed Spain for a while and were dominant over Europe. So I just want to point it out to you. And they also had the grip over the Americas, but I'll discuss this in another live stream. Okay? Now, there are scholarly articles, as I said, you can read about Saint-Domingue and the Haitian Revolution. This article called Public Debt and Slavery, the Case of Haiti, 1716-1915, by Simon Henochsberg. So you can read that for yourself. Okay, I'm not going through all of it, but here you can see it talks about, it is actually a good article. I think it's really a thesis, not an article, my bad. No, it's a thesis, my bad. You can read this thesis in which this individual, the scholar, went in depth over how wealthy Haiti was before and how after let me enlarge this. How after independence it crashed. So you can see at some point, even after independence, when it was being extorted by France, they had a peak, but then it went down completely later on. As you can see, there were peaks despite extortion, but it declined over time. Multiple factors involved. You can look this up for yourself. Okay? He also had the Haitian independence debt, a case for restitution. Another article talking about it. And okay, let's read this part over here. On July 11th, 1825, Jean-Pierre Boyer, the president of Haiti, signed the infamous document which stated that the present inhabitants of the French part of Saint-Domingue shall pay in 5 equal installments the sum of 150 million francs. Haiti was not able to make the payment and was forced to take out a loan of 30 million francs by the terms of the agreement France profit, which French banks to make the first two payments under the contract, earning the Haitian entity the ominous nickname the double debt. In 1838, the French king and Boyer revised the terms of 1825 ordinance, lowering Haiti's outstanding balance to 60 million francs, and in a separate political treaty, finally recognized Haiti's sovereign independence. The reduction did little to stabilize Haiti's economy. To avoid the causation challenges presented by trading French enrichment through Haiti's elective borrowing from French banks for payment of the loan, we calculate France enrichment as 60 million franc principally paid by Haiti full in 1885. Although many aspects of the Haitian independence step appear objectively inconsonant with an abstract conception of justice or morality, a legal claim for unjust enrichment must be evaluated according to the juridical standards of customary international law. So it goes on to talk about how some people claim that, well, France was entitled to do this because they suffered loss. I'd say, no, no, no. The losses were their own fault and all of that. But you can read it for yourself. So I want you to do your own research too. And we're also Moors in the Caribbean. Okay, so you can check that out also for yourself. There are multiple articles about it. The thing that kind of struck me the most is that many schools don't even talk about the Haitian Revolution. So, yeah, I just want to put this out to you. Louisiana, okay, let's read this. I'm going to read these two parts with you. Okay? In retaliation, okay, let me make this bigger. In retaliation for Louverture's actions, Napoleon Bonaparte, the first consul of France, sent troops, led by his brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc, to the island to restore French rule. The troops had secret instructions to restore slavery, at least in parts of the island formerly held by Spain. This expedition included 86 warships carrying 22,000 troops, who had been instructed to reinforce the several thousand French troops already on the island. Upon their arrival, they soon found themselves contending with malaria and yellow fever epidemics in addition to revolutionaries. In November 1802, Leclerc died of yellow fever. His troops also fell victim to the epidemic. French leaders promised Louverture his freedom if he agreed to integrate his remaining troops into the French army, which he did in May 1802. Despite Louverture's apparent fealty to France, the French did not keep their words. Louverture was arrested and sent to France, where he died after several months in prison. The last battle of the Saint-Domingue Revolution was fought on November 18, 1803 between the rebels led by Dessalines and the decimated French forces commanded by Leclerc's successor, Donatien Marie Joseph de Vimieux, Vicomte de Rochambeau. It was no contest. The victorious Dessalines named himself Emperor Jacques I of the new republic and renamed it Haiti, which meant land of mountains in the indigenous Arawakan language. Okay, the Saint-Domingue Revolution had a great impact on Louisiana from the 1790s through the 1810s. First and foremost was France's loss in its attempted reconquest of the island during 1802 and 1803. Napoleon had hoped to retake Saint-Domingue in order to revive the sugar trade and establish the island as a source of wealth for France. In 1800, he negotiated with Spain in the Treaty of San Ildefonso for the French possession of Louisiana. So as you see over here, the reason why the Louisiana Purchase even happened, okay, let me go over here. Louisiana Purchase, where is that? Oh, you know what? I can look it up. Louisiana Purchase. Okay, hold on. Okay. The reason why Louisiana Purchase even happened was because, first of all, there was a lot of criminality over there, and France, the Spain had a hard time containing it. So, so the Haitian Revolution also affected the population over here. So there was a deal between France, Napoleon, and Spain, so to give the territory back to France, which did happen on paper, but in practice, Spain still governed it. And eventually, the United States decided we're going to take it over. But the thing is, the United States did not have the money to purchase it, so they went in debt. Okay, with a British Dutch bank, as you can see over here. This written in Dutch over here. Akte van aandeel voor $400 in een gemeenschapsgelijk bezit van een kapitaal van $5 miljoen. Original Afrikaanse ponden. Okay, this is old Dutch, but I can read it. I can understand it. So the United States back then, which was quite smaller than now, and remember, this was the United States back then. Okay, the United States over here wanted to purchase Louisiana territory from France, which had it on paper, but in practice, Spain was still governing it, to double the size of the country, but they had no money to afford it. So they went in debt. They went broke, went bankrupt, and went in debt just to get Louisiana territory, which they couldn't govern anyway because they didn't have the money to. And there was also opposition against Louisiana Purchase because the purchase was not, they had no authorization to purchase Louisiana territory. And also the native tribes and native chiefs did not consent to this. So there's been a court case about this with the United Nations later on, but that's another topic for another live stream. So you see that the Louisiana Purchase was in direct relationship with the Haitian Revolution. All right? Okay, so let's continue. In 1809, he negotiated with Spain in the Treaty of San Ildefonso for the French possession of Louisiana, which would serve as a breadbasket for Saint-Domingue. When French forces were defeated by Haitian rebels, Napoleon no longer needed the colony of Louisiana and decided to sell the entire colony to the United States in April 1803. Thomas Jefferson sent emissaries, Robert Livingston and James Monroe, to negotiate with France for the sale of the Isle of Orleans, the city of New Orleans. Napoleon, who realized he could use the sale of the finance to his planned campaign against Great Britain, then offered to sell the entire colony for $15 million. Livingston and Monroe agreed to the sale, and on December 20, 1803, Louisiana was officially transferred from French to U.S. control. The revolution also had a great impact on Louisiana's slave and immigrant policies. In the late 1790s, Louisiana's Spanish colonial governor, Francisco Luis Hector de Carondelet, feared that the immigrants from Saint-Domingue would import dangerous revolutionary ideas, so he attempted to keep slaves and free people of color from the island from entering Louisiana. The discovery of a planned slave rebellion on Julien Poitras plantation in Point Coupé in 1795 seemed to confirm this suspicion. Aware of the revolution in Saint-Domingue, Poitras slaves plotted to burn several buildings and then used the ensuing confusion as a way to seize weapons and kill their masters. Though the rebellion was aborted, white anxieties about slave insurrections remained. Unwelcome in Louisiana initially, most of the white slaves and free people of color who fled Saint-Domingue during the uprising went to other places in the Caribbean, particularly in the eastern Cuban port of Santiago de Cuba. As tensions between Spain and France over the Napoleonic Wars escalated, these refugees found themselves unwelcome in Cuba by 1809. So it goes on. Okay, let's say Louisiana territorial governor, when Louisiana came under American rule. William C. Claiborne was reluctant to allow Saint-Domingue refugees in Louisiana. In 1809 and 1810, Claiborne believed that their presence would be a hindrance to the growth of American domestic principles. At the same time, U.S. slave laws passed in 1807 prohibited importation of slaves from outside the nation. On the one hand, Claiborne allowed enslaved persons, referred to as servants on ship manifest, into Louisiana territory to appease planters' need for labor. On the other hand, Claiborne prohibited immigration of free men of color, but allowed free women of color passage. So you see, also U.S. history was affected a lot by the Haitian Revolution. All right? Now, for those who are here in this live chat right now, did you know all of this? Or did you know a big portion of all of this? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Did you know a big portion of all this information already before this live stream? Let me know in the live chat. So, why are they keeping this history hidden? Because by looking at Haiti's current condition with a lot of poverty, a lot of crime, and political instability, it's easy for them to come with the narrative Haiti is a failure, Haiti is a failed state, Haitians are associated with crime, this and that. And it's easy for them to say, like, for example, France and French brands, whether it's Louis Vuitton or other brands, are are rooted in old money, generational wealth. Okay, where did its generational wealth originate from? Did it all originate from hard work and discipline? No, it did not. And that's something we need to be fair and real about. So, racial narratives about corporations, about brands, about countries still dominate people's minds today. My aim with this live stream is to show you that the world we live in today is the outworking of historical processes. The United States began as a union of independent republics who operate in the shadow of the British economy, as the United States did for most of its history. It's only since the late 1940s that the United States became a superpower on the world stage. Haiti used to be the wealthiest colony on the earth. And after its independence, it would have become one of the wealthiest countries in the Western Hemisphere, run by quote unquote black people, people from African ancestry. It would have been that if there was no international sabotage continuously. Now, I'm not saying it's all the fault of international sabotage. The local population also has their own self sabotage that they need to fix, absolutely, but we can't lay it all on them. So, I've nothing against you getting Louis Vuitton bags, Louis Vuitton products. Absolutely not. I'm not slandering the company whatsoever. I'm just saying, for you to say that, oh, I want to buy a Louis Vuitton bag, or I want to buy a Chanel bag, or I want to buy Rolls Royce, whatever. Why are you so into those luxurious brands? Because of the story associated with them. The story. Okay, let me say it like this. Let's say someone makes a T-shirt. Okay. Let me close this for a moment. Hold on. Let me close this for a moment. Okay, let's say someone makes a T-shirt. Okay, let's say it costs them maybe 50 cents to make a T-shirt in a factory because he ordered a bunch of T-shirts and he puts his own logo on it. Let's say you have a Nigerian make a bunch of T-shirts putting a logo on it, and he says this T-shirt costs $50. How many of you would go and buy that T-shirt that's $50 and it's just a white T-shirt with a logo on it? You think, why would I pay $50 for just a T-shirt? But there are people buying a Lacoste T-shirt or maybe a Nike T-shirt, or they buy similar T-shirts which cost just a fraction of money to produce, but because of the logo of the brand on it, it's suddenly worth a lot. The same T-shirt that's produced with a Nigerian brand on it The same amount it costs to make that same t-shirt will be the European brand on it. But for some reason, when the European brand puts $50 for the t-shirt, people think it's acceptable. When the Nigerian one does it not. Why not? It's based on the story you were told about this brands. You get me? And the story makes you think it's worth to pay $50 for this t-shirt. The thing is, if the reputation went down of Europeans right now, as kind of is happening now with the whole Gaza genocide situation, and if Nigeria got a better reputation worldwide, suddenly people would look different at Nigerian brands, and maybe in the future, instead of Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Armani, and all those other luxury brands from Europe, people would go to Nigeria to get luxurious goods. Then suddenly the Nigerian brands would be the top ones. It depends on the story. I wanted to show you how much corporations and brands today rely on storytelling to be relevant. That's why they do so much advertisement to associate themselves with quality. And now you also understand why some companies and some people, some countries are held back because of the negative media attention. There are Haitians outside of Haiti, or even are born in Haiti and go abroad and become successful. There are even some Haitians locally become successful too. How come they're never mentioned? How come when never mention Haiti is often poverty, natural disasters, corruption, and gang violence? Because they want you to associate all these horrors with Haiti. So anytime you hear Haiti or Haitian, that's the feeling comes up in you. At the same time, they want you to associate everything relating to Europeans, especially European brands, with quality, sustainability, durability, certainty, quality. So these associations are triggered in your mind, and that's why you develop this desire for a lot of these European brands. That's what it comes down to. So is this clear to all of you? Let me know in the live chat. Is this clear to all of you? Oh, and by the way, okay, let me share the screen one more time to show something to you. Vincent Auger was a Creole revolutionary merchant, military officer, and goldsmith who had a leading role in a failed uprising against French colonial rule in the colony SAINT-DOMINGUE in 1790. So even before the Haitian Revolution officially started in 1791, in 1790, you had this wealthy, free Haitian man who started a revolt against France. It failed, unfortunately. But he planned this for a while. And there were others who also attempted, but you never hear about them in history. Okay? Just point it out to you. So, let me close the screen again. So, look, I'm not making this live stream to point a finger at France, French bronze, and all of that. I've used the history of Haiti, as well as the colonial history of France, and also the origins of the brand Louis Vuitton to show you how historical narratives affect our lives today. Because let me tell you, if France did not have Haiti to leech out of, they would have a hard time conquering Western Africa and part of Southeast Asia, and they would have not had such a leverage in the Caribbean left as they had to, and likely Napoleon III would have a hard time becoming emperor. And if he didn't become emperor, this guy, Louis Vuitton, would not have his breakthrough he had. It's all linked together. Okay? Some people would say, if I would tell people that Haiti and Poland, that the Polish people in Haiti have historical connection together, would say, huh, Rashid, Polish people are quote unquote white people or Caucasians all the way Eastern Europe. Haiti is a nation considered out of former enslaved African people and mixed with some of the indigenous people over there. What are you talking about, Rashid? There's no connection. There is. During the Haitian Revolution, you had Polish people settled there in Haiti. And remember, 1795, Poland lost its sovereignty. It was absorbed by the Kingdom of Prussia and the Russian Empire. You hear me? So, oh, you want proof? Congress, Poland. Okay? You think I'm bullshitting out my mouth, right? No, no, no. I'm showing you I'm not bullshitting at all. Congress, Poland, or Kingdom of Poland, 1815. It was part of the Russian Empire. Partitions of Poland. Poland was a very big nation together with Lithuania, and it was suddenly cut in pieces. The last cut happened in 1795, which was the peak of the Haitian Revolution, which also triggered the revolt of Tula on Curacao. Curacao. Over there, the slave revolt on Curacao. Over there, it triggered that also, and it triggered the start of the Batavian Republic in the Netherlands, 1795. That same year, the peak of the Haitian Revolution, you all had Poland being abolished as an independent country. And there were a lot of Polish people believed all supported the Haitian Revolution. So seems like they tried to shut down external help for the Haitian Revolution, which came from Poland also. Seems like that, but hey, that's what was going on. You know what I mean? And this was also the reason why Napoleon invaded many of the German areas in Poland, because of their support for the Haitian Revolution too. Okay? So what I'm saying is, if I say Poland and Haiti have a connection historically, people say, Rashid, what are you talking about? Now you know they have a connection. Just a lot of people today are not aware of it, but doesn't mean the connection does not exist. Historical narratives matter. So do your research and look at the bigger picture in daily life. All right? Okay. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Are there any questions about this topic? I know I shared a lot of information, but I'm going to give you the full picture of what's going on. Haitian Revolution included the history of the United States. Without the Haitian Revolution, you had no Louisiana Purchase, because it were mainly Haitians who were enslaved, or Haitians were free, that moved to the Louisiana territory, governed by Spain, that caused a lot of problems, and later want to give back to France. France didn't want it, and all of that. So without the Haitian Revolution, you wouldn't have a Louisiana Purchase, double in size of the United States. And another thing, the United States government wanted to purchase the Louisiana territory, also to shut down the free dark-skinned people that were being prosperous over there, because there were prosperous dark-skinned people in North America who were not slaves, and they lived mainly in the Spanish parts, the Spanish-controlled parts, and by United States purchasing the Louisiana territory, they hope to shut all of that down. So the Haitian Revolution affected much of our current history. So when people say, oh, it's Europeans that stopped slavery worldwide, listen. Slavery happened amongst all nations, okay? It were even dark-skinned people enslaving dark-skinned people. That happened. But just know, the transatlantic slave trade and also the slave trade of the dark-skinned people already there in America, also from African ancestry, there were Africans in North and South America before Columbus. They were called Maroons, okay? So yes, there were Maroon tribes, or called Moorish tribes in North America. They were later reclassified as Indian. So the term, because the term India or Indian was a term from ancient Greece. The people in India didn't call themselves Indians. Even today, the country of India is called Bharat, but internationally call themselves India. So Indian became a term used by the European colonial powers to disconnect the local stuff from the history. So there were dark-skinned people from African ancestry already in North and South America and the Caribbean before slavery happened. So you had enslaved Africans being deported across the Atlantic, and you had Africans already there, deport right throughout the Caribbean, across the Pacific. It went all over. You know what I mean? And later they were called Indians just to disconnect them. What I'm saying is that if the Haitian Revolution didn't happen, I doubt slavery would have been abolished as quickly as it did. I doubt it. But anyway, I hope this live stream informed you. Someone asked over here, why does the world look down on dark-skinned people so much? It has to do with the history of the tribe of Judah, which also check the history of the Moors also. Very short, it's like this. The Dutch Empire, which kind of began in the late 1500s, 1590s, became actually formed in 1602 with the Dutch East India Company. They began to classify African people and also the African diaspora already in the Americas, whether it's to the slave trade or those who were already there to migration. They began to classify them as niggers. Nigger comes from the Dutch word nikker, which means a swamp demon. Yes, they worship dark-skinned swamp demons in the Netherlands, or black fallen angels. They worship in the Netherlands. So those pagans and devil worshippers worship those black fallen angels. They began to classify the African population, well, the African diaspora, as swamp demons, niggers. Nicker, necker, nigger. You get me? So by doing that, they begin to portray those people as swamp monsters. They are dangerous. And slowly but slowly, this propaganda influenced the minds of the world, and that's how the world developed this anti-black racism. And apartheid is a Dutch word. Apartheid is a Dutch word because I speak Dutch fluently. I grew up in the Netherlands, and Curaçao is still part of the Dutch kingdom also. Apartheid was invented by the Dutch to preserve the privilege and leverage of Dutch settlers during the colonial era. So anti-black racism and apartheid were Dutch inventions. Anti-black racism is a Dutch colonial product. It's even a miracle the Netherlands or the Dutch government abolished slavery just recently. Even though the politicians want to withdraw that apology, but that's not going to happen likely. So now you understand why dark-skinned people from African ancestry, because you also have people from African ancestry were not mixed, were just fully African and they're light-skinned. This also exists, for example, in Ghana and Nigeria. The reason why they got such a bad reputation is because of this colonial stigmatization by the Dutch Empire. Is this clear to you? Is this clear to you, Christopher? Or why this happened this way? Let me know in the live chat. All right. Any other questions? Again, I'm not saying the Haitian Revolution is the only thing that shaped the rest of history of the world. I'm not saying that, but it was a very important event that shaped a lot. Again, in the Netherlands, there were some revolts against the Princess of Orange. That's the Netherlands was a republic, but it was governed by some princes. I mean, it's a very weird situation. There were revolts against the hardships there, but the Haitian Revolution triggered and motivated a lot of Europeans to revolt against their own people. It happened in France, and it also happened in the Netherlands. And it's time to acknowledge the contribution of the Haitians. Instead of act like they had no history and act like they were never around. All right? I'm from a Haitian descent. I'm not a Haitian directly, I'm just from Haitian descent. But hey, I'm proud to be of Haitian descent. Those people fought for their freedom. Okay, some of the fighting later on could have been prevented, but hey, the world didn't want to let them go and be free. So there are even Polish people today who know the connection and were proud of it too. What's the problem with recognizing Haiti's contribution to world history? Why not recognize it? Well, I do right now. Again, show some appreciation to Haiti, please. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for being here. watch this live stream. I'm about to do some other stuff now. Thanks for watching. Again, I post some sources for you. Okay, let me share them one more time. You can use these sources to, okay, where is it? You can use these sources to check for things yourself. I'm going to post them in a comment section too and highlight them. There are other sources besides that you can look into. We'll do that also. And yeah, thank you all for being here. More live streams like this will follow. Hey, and don't forget, I'm doing this voluntarily, these live streams, to educate you all. Show some appreciation by donating in the links below. And you also can show some love by checking my novels on Amazon. Here are several of them. There are more upcoming. And I'll keep you guys updated. And I'll see you next time. Keep agreeing with Christ, our Lord and Savior, and be at peace. Shalom.